Hey there, my empty nest friends. Do you ever feel like you need a new lease on life now that the kids have launched? Maybe all you need is just a new lens. Today, I'm in studio with Trisha Rose Stone, a soulful guide, former optometrist turned life coach, and creator of the New Lens Method. Her journey is a powerful testament to resilience. And after navigating heartbreak, motherhood, and a painful divorce in her early 30s, she embarked on a deep inner healing journey. Today, Trisha helps women reframe the stories, see their lives through a new, empowering perspective, and guides them so they can manifest the love, purpose, and fulfillment they truly desire. We're going to get into all of that now and more. Trisha, welcome to this emptiness life.
Hi, Jay. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited that you're here. I love that you call it the new lens because you do bring a new lens to life and how it can kind of manifest itself out there. But I'm so curious about the courage it took you to move from New York to Boston as a single mom. I think that's so incredibly empowering. How did you harness the inner strength to make that leap? And then let's get into your story.
Oh, thank you. I think that that experience is foundational in the work I'm doing now because I really think that the process of being able to really visualize what I really wanted and hold that vision no matter what obstacles I was going to face. It's like I knew in my heart when I was 38 when I moved. So I between the ages of 30 and 38, I was living in the Syracuse area to be near my family because my daughter was a newborn when I was 30. But I knew in my heart that I wanted to live in a big city. That really always appealed to me, like an urban lifestyle. And I just I was stubborn and I just said, I'm going to do this. And it was truly this vision I had of what I wanted. And I knew I would have obstacles. I knew it wouldn't be perfect. There would be adjustments with my daughter changing schools. There would be, I bought a practice. There's going to be learning curves, but I never once regretted it. And it was actually in some ways easier than I thought it would be because I was so grounded in my decision. I wasn't like wondering, should I do this? Should I? Or having regrets, like when it would be a tough day where my daughter was trying to adjust to a new school. I never let myself think, "Oh, I made the wrong choice." So it was a really exciting time for me. I knew that it was my path, like I was certain. So it was really actually kind of exciting and kind of I know we'll probably get into this later, but kind of similar to the empty nest phase. It's like the right thing. This was the right choice for me. So that's what it was.
But where did the vision come from? Like you
Oh,
said, I was so destined to be in this spot. And then there's so much more to your life after that. But
yeah.
where did that driving vision come from?
I feel like it comes from within. I feel like it was something inside of me, and it would be reinforced to me when I would see it in my world. If I would watch a movie about a young woman in her 30s living a professional life in a big city, it would hit the nerve. I was like, "Oh yeah." I was reminded of it by things in my world like I was visiting New York or visiting Boston, and I would have this really deep knowing that it was something that was meant for me. But I think it was the actual truth of it was inside of me. I just was reminded of it by music, by images, by photographs, and then by being in these other environments. It was definitely there. And so would just I was open to the signs too. Like when the sign would come to me, I'd say, I've got to really see this sign. This is telling me that I need to act on this.
I love that. I love that. When I think about kind of your journey, and I see it a lot in my social feed, like a lot of women struggle with the challenges of being a single mom
Hmm.
and what that looks like. And as the kids go on, and certainly when they get into the empty nesting stage, that's an issue. But how did you thrive and stay true to yourself and that vision while you were raising your daughter alone?
I think it was, I, I think that I was it's like that feeling of I knew that I was following my path, and I wish I had a better reason or explanation for listeners, but it was actually just knowing yourself. I knew this, and I actually at the time, I did have a lot of support in terms of therapy, and, I had a therapist I still have that she's also a coach. She has a lot of coaching technique in her work with me, and I was working on myself a lot. I was working with her, I was doing my daughter would go away for the summer to be with her dad. I would go to workshops and retreats. I went to Kripalu. I was really, always super curious and a seeker. So I was looking and it wasn't hard to find.
Yeah.
And I had the support too to through that work that I did to know that that was also the right choice for my daughter, and that's a big one because I think there was a lot of pushback in my family and in I think in the world people push back and say, "Why would you, a single mom, leave your family when you have a daughter and who's close to that family?" But I felt like I had teachers and people in my life that were telling me something else. They were saying, it's the most important thing is that you are really living fully. And because your daughter is going to look to you as how she should live. And you really don't want to become a martyr or sacrifice everything if you don't have to, because that's what she'll do. It's just kind of like looking more as at motherhood is like modeling. Like I need to model what I would want for her. And if I was her, if she was in the situation, I would want her to live her dream. I would want her to push forward. And so it was just a different role modeling that I think my mother's generation had. That
Yeah.
it was okay for me to do that. And I was sensible. I waited till she was old enough and I didn't go somewhere. I went to a location my parents could visit all the time. But it was a lot of those factors that came together. And I had this like supportive environment. And yeah, so I just, that was that.
That was that. I love how you were like, I wish I had a better answer for the audience, but then you like nailed it in motherhood is modelhood.
But that type of thinking was I think, a newer way of thinking. I think that the older way of thinking is motherhood is sacrifice, period. And you no longer have your own dreams. You no longer have your own vision for life. Like it's gone, you give it up. And I think that thankfully, the newer energy and the new messaging we're getting is no, it's not that.
You could have it's a blend, right? You can have both dreams for your kids and help them achieve it while having dreams for yourself and help yourself achieve it.
Yeah.
I think that's the best of both worlds. And oftentimes I think people think they have to give up everything for their kids. And we
Mhm.
do for a time. Obviously, it's all encompassing to be a parent. And even more so for a mom. I get
Yeah.
that. And so as you kind of look at that life journey, what a testament it is and what a gift for your daughter to be able to see, right, what's possible. And I think that's I talk about that a lot in empty nestings, be an example of what's possible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, no.
you're literally living it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I am. I don't think about it enough, honestly, but I am very proud of that time period. You look at life as I look at it for me as there's chapters and Taylor Swift has eras.
Mhm.
But that's a chapter I'm really proud of. Is that chapter when I was living in the city, out of practice, moved my daughter, no family, nothing, no support systems, just did it and it worked. It worked out really well.
How long did you spend in Boston? I know you ended up getting remarried. How long did you spend in Boston? Tell me a little bit about that journey. What did that look like? And then obviously you found a partner, a wonderful partner after 14 years of
Yeah.
being single. Let's get into that a little bit too.
Yeah. I moved to Boston in January of 2011, and I lived there until 20 I met my husband in 2017, and then in 2018 I moved, but we've always kept our home there. because it's easier for us. We have 4 daughters now. I have 3 stepdaughters, and we need a home base. So Boston's our home base. But I had a really adventurous time, I'd say, in Boston. It's because I was running a business. I was learning constantly how to do that, how to manage, how to run, manage a team. And then also personally, like how to just being a single mom, dating, friends, just bringing it all together, having the right setup for my daughter with childcare, with being with her, doing a lot with her, a lot of little weekend trips. New England's so good for those little day trips. So it was a really action-packed time, I would say. And my daughter is extremely extroverted, social, so was constantly kids around and lots of sports. So it was such a really special time.
How old is your daughter now?
She's 23.
23. Okay. So you are empty nesting to a certain degree.
Oh,
I don't
definitely.
I don't know if the bonus kids are, still home with you or if they're empty
No,
nesting as well.
no,
Yeah, everybody's out.
they're actually older.
Okay, so your daughter is the youngest.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so as you look at that time in life now, right? You spent a lot of time in Boston kind of getting life going and figuring it out. How did you some people may be wondering, like, how did Trisha manifest love and attract a new relationship after all that time? It wasn't it was it was probably in your 30s but I know people all along the spectrum, 40s, 50s, 60s, they're all wanting to know, if I don't have a partner, is it right for me to find somebody new? And if I do, how do I go about it?
It's so funny you asked me that because I feel like I've had so many things that I've loved to talk about with people I meet, like at a dinner party or an event. And the one question I get over and over is that question. And I think that is such a hot topic because it's really hard in the beginning. I think there for women to find love. I was actually 44 when I met my husband. I believe that that happened because I was in such an exciting high vibration. Like I really do believe in energy. I feel like energy attracts like energy. And at that moment that we met, I was in such a great place. And that was a result of a lot of work that I had done on myself and really just forgiving myself, forgiving others, really doing the work. And I also was involved in a really beautiful philanthropic project in Boston. I was working with Boston Public Schools and providing free eye exams and eyeglasses to underprivileged youth. And it was just an extremely rewarding time for me. And I wasn't thinking about, oh, I want to meet someone. It was like I was focused on my life is so good. I remember waking up feeling so grateful for the work I was doing, the people I was meeting, the friends I was making, seeing my daughter, doing her thing. And I was just feeling this really kind of like a richness that I hadn't always felt because, of course, there were times where I was single for so long and I had a lot of challenges in that area. That's been my biggest area of challenge. And that's why that's the area I focus my coaching on is women who have a hard time meeting a really nice guy or nice partner because they have insecurities and they feel in some way not worthy of that. And so that is my area of I love I love working with women in the area because that's where I was. And from my experience, it was really about me just working through it and starting to feel so good about myself at that moment in time. That's where I was. And that's when he came. We were out. I was out with a friend and he happened to be in Boston. He was living in Seattle. He had 2 daughters at Boston College. He came into Boston for a weekend and we met in a bar. It's that was it. That was it. We got
That was
engaged
the
3
start.
months later, literally.
Wow. Wow. It's interesting, right? So I want to go back. You were talking about, oh, I had this vision. I wanted to be like in a big city and I wanted to do this and I wanted to Was finding love again after divorce, like, part of that vision, or was it
Yes,
just happenstance that came later?
definitely. I had the vision and I really wanted that, but I learned that over time that I just couldn't force that. Nice. I had to really not force that. I had to allow that because I tried different things. I had to just allow it to happen. And that's what happened. I eventually was able to be in the vibration and then it came in. So but it definitely was something I really wanted.
Okay. So for people who are listening, for women who kind of maybe feel stuck right now or a little bit overwhelmed in either their lives or their relationships of like they're seeking love or not, like how do they go about even tapping into their own power to create the change? Like you had a very clear vision, but if for somebody who doesn't feel that way right now, what's the first step?
The first step is to recognize what is the story they're telling themselves about love and start to see it, like really see it, because it's really impacting their experiences when they're out in the world, when they're in environments where there are potential people to date. It's affecting everything. So what is that, like I say, like what is the lens they're looking through when it comes to love? And there's so many different ways to see that is, do they feel lovable? Do they feel deeply worthy? Those are the biggest things that need to be addressed because it's a magnet. A woman who feels worthy is a magnet for that. It's amazing. And people, I find that in my experience with clients, but also just in my experience socially in different environments, it's not what people think. Like this is just my opinion, but it's like people think if I, you know, lose this amount of weight, or if I get this amount of this career, or if I have this type of clothing or this kind of lifestyle, I'll attract it. It's not that. It's if in my heart, like I know I'm truly worthy, I am a magnet for that, for the right person. I don't have to, I mean, I have to take care of myself because that falls into the same bucket, but it's not that. It's that emotional feeling because I I've lived it and I see it in women who I know. And it's so build to get to that place, every single woman can get there. It's because everyone is worthy. It's just working through what's blocking them. What is blocking them from seeing their worth? And that can be addressed. And then you start to see a brand new, ultimately it's a process. I look at it as like a nut, and you do the work and you go through the beliefs and you release that. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, I actually really am worthy. That's not what I thought wasn't even true. Like I thought I
Okay.
wasn't worthy and it's not true.
Yeah, it's like, that's not true at all, but if for somebody who doesn't believe it's true, like, I would imagine helping them visualize what that looks like for them is
Yeah.
part of the work that you do. So,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that would be so that's like the second step. The first step is acknowledging what's blocking them. So like looking at it clearly saying, okay, I definitely have some blocks. And then the second step is yes, going deep into your really like deepest, biggest dreams of what you want and letting yourself feeling safe to just really dream it all out. Like, what do you really want? And don't make any shortcuts. Put it out there fully and explore. And then you start to imagine, what would it look like if I was in this relationship? How would I feel? What would that version of myself, how would she respond to these things? How would she behave in this setting? What does her weekend look like? How does her partner treat her? Like what kind of things do they do together? And you start to kind of visualize this whole thing. And that gives the strength to it. That gives the momentum to it. So those two things work together in attracting.
I love that, and I know that some people, often say, "Well, oh, I have to see it to believe it," but you're actually getting them to believe it to see it.
Yes. That's the
Yeah,
truth. That's the Wayne Dyer quote too. I love that quote.
yeah.
It's you have to believe it to see it because that's like the secret to everything. It's like you have to believe it and then it happens, not the other way. And it's possible to really lift up your feelings about yourself, the way you see yourself through process. And you can. And then ultimately you get it. You get what you deserve.
I love that. You get what you deserve. That's such a strong statement. But I would imagine it is like you get what you deserve, not in a bad way. Sometimes we say, "Oh, that person got what they deserve," but it's I get what I deserve.
Yeah,
But so
because you
many
know.
people, yeah, but so many people feel unworthy. You talked about that before of what they deserve.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't deserve that. Even now, like even people will say, "Oh, I love being a mom or I love being a dad. It was great. Now the kids are gone, but I feel guilty or
Hmm.
I feel like I'm not worthy of actually going after what I deserve now that I've done my job as a parent."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really true. I'm sure it comes up in all these chapters, but it's just that is a not true that you are worthy. That is just you are worthy. So it's just a matter of really getting it here and then getting it here. And you get it here and this shines through in your behaviors, your action, your energy, and then it's a magnet.
Yeah. You got to believe it in your heart and your head.
Mhm. Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know you're a big believer in kind of helping women. You work
Mhm.
specifically with women finding their North Star
Mhm.
and kind of aligning with their highest purpose. And I know a lot of moms are like, well, being a mom was my purpose. And now I don't know what my purpose is anymore. So
Yeah.
that creates like a period of transition and uncertainty for them. How do
Mhm.
you help those women find their North Star?
That's a great question. My teacher I trained with is Martha Beck, and she has a lot of great information. So I would recommend anyone who's listening and is in that state to look into her and check out her books because she really writes about this. But she describes how when we go through change, she compares it to the change that happens with a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And when the caterpillar it goes into the cocoon and it dissolves into this blob, and but what's really interesting, it's totally it's in a different shape, but it's alive. But then then what happens is it becomes something new, and then it bursts its way through the cocoon, and then it becomes a butterfly. And it's the same thing we go through as humans. We go through that cycle. And when you start something brand new or there's a radical shift in your life, like your kids are going off to college or your day-to-day life as a mom is so different, be patient with yourself and let yourself let the change happen. And with time, and usually it's just in the beginning, just really kind of sitting with it. And then over time, though, little clues will come in and you'll begin to be inspired and something new will come that you didn't imagine, but it's all part of your path. It's just another layer. Like we said, another chapter is coming. And it can take time for some women to adjust to that and to welcome a brand new start. And for some women, it might be quick. It might be easier. Every single one of us is different, but it really is a new beginning for the mother, just like it's a new beginning for the child going off to college. It's the same, it's a brand new thing, it's a new cycle. And when we live really fully, we go through many, many cycles. Like that's what we're supposed to do. That's what Martha says. So we're constantly growing. We're never the same 2 days in a row. So it's just growing and embracing that and accepting this is going to be a new chapter for me and being open to whatever it is that kind of sparks your interest and giving yourself permission to explore and then to evolve and change.
Yeah, that I'll tie this in like my very first coach, Valerie Burton. So that's who I kind of studied under for my certification. And she says what we go through, we grow through.
Mhm.
And that's how we kind of expand and keep growing and evolving as humans. You did that. Like your journey is one that you seems like you're constantly doing that. You said you had a vision for what you wanted, obviously a vision for Boston and maybe later in finding love again. But I think you believe in kind of manifesting superpowers. And so I'm
Yeah.
just curious kind of what yours are, and then tell us a little bit, perhaps how listeners can kind of tap into their own and move closer to the life they envision.
Manifesting powers. I would say the manifesting is it's coming from your subconscious. So it's really, really working with your beliefs and embodying them. So first it's knowing whatever that belief is. If it's the belief is I want to find love. You have a desire. I want to find love. Then you believe it, you start to work with it until again, like we said earlier, it starts to sink in and you start to really think, I am worthy of this. Then you're already like, you're 80, 90% of the way there. And then the final step to manifesting for me is embodying. So in your day to day life, really embodying that life that you want, even though it's not there yet. So it's sort of like having that feeling of excitement on a Friday, even if you're not with that person you want to be with, and just by yourself taking yourself on a date, or wearing a like you're going out on a date and get dressed up and do something like keep yourself feeling excitement, keep the energy up. And then when you bring it out into the world, you have to let go. You have to allow it to come in. So it's manifestation for me is what feeling do I want to have? What do I want? But I have to release some of it too, because sometimes people try to control the outcome too much. And that's not how manifestation works. And my experience, it's, I, I'm putting it out there, what I want. I'm embodying it to my best ability, but I'm going to let go and see what comes in. Because for me, I used to say, oh, I really want to meet a guy from Boston. I really would love to meet someone who has family here, who has, deep roots here, because I didn't. And right before I met my husband, I was in this really high state. I said, I'm going to let it go. I'm putting it out there what I want. I know what it is. I know the feelings. I'm embodying this highest vibration of myself I can, but I'm going to let it go. And sure enough, I met this guy who's from Seattle and it worked out perfectly. I mean, it was the right guy. So if I had been too controlling of that, I would have never been open to this guy. And so there's a piece of it that's trusting. It's putting the energy and wanting it and really bring it and then letting it go. It's that combination of the two is the secret sauce.
Yeah, it's almost like going back to the story of the caterpillar and the butterfly. Like when you see a butterfly, if you hold on it too tightly, you're going to damage it, as opposed to
Exactly.
just like enjoying its beauty and just putting it back out into the world.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of parallel to your story and how you see, oh, this is what I believe, this is what I want for my life, but I'm not going to control it so much that I can't let go of it and just put it out there for the universe or karma or whatever to kind of help me get where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a belief in manifesting that there is a co-creator. You're not alone. It's like you're wanting it, but you're believing in some other power, greater intelligence, in my opinion, kind of along there too. You're not completely alone in the process, but you do have to trust that.
Yeah. Throughout your journey, Trisha Rose, what was like one of the most defining moments for you?
Hmm. I would say the night I met my husband was one of them because it was one of the most clear examples I've had of a true, wow, this is happening. This is it was like because I believed I got the proof. I knew it was I knew something was gonna happen, but when it really happened, the way it happened, I thought, "Oh my god, this is a magical world we live in." Like, things are always happening for me. It was a deep realization. The other one I had is with my practice, the way I found my practice in Boston, it was just kismet. And when things like that happen, it's so it's so incredible to you have the proof that, oh my gosh, I everything I've been thinking about wanting, it really was trying to get to me too. It was trying to get like it was this and it was when the timing was right, it happened.
Yeah, we hear people talk about that all the time, right? And it's like, oh, when the time's right, this happened for me. And I love
Yeah,
that you use the phrase "it happened for me" and not to you. We talk
yeah,
about that on the show all the time. It's so important to look at things that happen in your life as something that happens for you, both good and bad.
yep,
And so
exactly.
I'm curious, as you kind of go through your journey here and life continues to unfold, like what's one wish you have for your future self?
I wish that I will be I will live with more grace, just more grace and more peace.
Grace and peace. I love that. It's a good combination. Now we're just gonna let it go and put it out there, and then it'll come to you. So I love how that works.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I let you go, Trisha, I really appreciate you sharing your journey and how you help people. And before I let you go, what's one thing you've learned about yourself through your journey?
I've learned that I've learned that I can trust. I'm not alone. Even at times when I felt really alone as a single mom, I wasn't really alone. I can let go and trust. And that's made my experience. That's something I had to learn, but I learned that. And so I feel that was probably the, the biggest lesson for me.
It's just to learn to trust.
Yeah, to learn to trust, and I did trust, and with I think that trust propelled me in the decisions in the life that I was able to have because I had faith and trust, and it wasn't always there, but it developed, and that's been a huge thing for me to move forward in all ways.
So learn to trust, I would imagine, your vision, your
Yep,
gut, your belief.
and trust in a larger picture and that I'm never alone. Even if I'm a single mom, I'm never alone. There's always support around me. And that
Mm,
is huge, I think, to feel when life throws curveballs.
yeah. There's a difference between feeling lonely and being alone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Don't be afraid because you're never really alone. There's so much support. There's so much around you. You just can't see it all the time.
Yeah. Again, you have to open your eyes to what's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Trisha Rose, thank you so much for being on this Emptiness Life and sharing a little bit of your story and your journey and how you work with people. I hope folks that are listening, wherever you may be at home, in the car, on a walk, that you can kind of see that there is possibility. If you're feeling stuck, you're
Mhm.
not always stuck. There is something on the other side of it. So I appreciate you sharing your story.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Jay. It's been so great talking with you.